Lingine ni kwamba tuna ng'ombe. Ng'ombe hawa ni ng'ombe wa maziwa, sio ng'ombe wa nyama. Ng'ombe hawa wanatusaidia maziwa. Maziwa hayo tunatumia kutengeneza chai, kupika chai kwa wanafunzi na pia walimu na hata wageni wetu wanapotembea hapa shuleni. Lingine ni kwamba tunafuga kondoo. Mnavyojua kondoo ni wanyama ambao wanatusaidia nyama na pia kondoo wanatusaidia kinyezi. Kinyezi hicho tunatumia kwenye samaki. Kinyezi cha mbuzi na kuku ni chakula bora kwa samaki wetu. Pia tuna mbwa kuhakikisha kwamba kuna ulinzi, hususan wakati wa usiku. Tunaweka ulinzi mkali kwa sababu kuna wanafunzi wa kike na wanafunzi wa kiume, na pia tunahakikisha kwamba wanafunzi hao wote wako chini ya ulinzi mkali hapa shuleni.
Our school has a state of art science. This is where learners get skills.
Our learners enjoy the practical parts. We do the theory in class, then we merge later with the practical works. Where they come, we do, they get engaged, do together. That has helped in memory of the concepts and most contents. Also, it has helped in proper placement of core competencies of CBC, such as learning to learn, critical thinking and collaboration. Also, it has helped to enhance most of the basic science skills.
We have a big field which we play different kinds of sports. Sports have been the pillar in Tabaka Academy. Through sports, the school has gone to higher heights.
Remember, sports and games help us to become strong and fit.
Sports is a great activity because our government has ensured that all schools can call out for curricular activities. Majorly in our schools here we participate in many kinds of sports. I personally am a coach when it comes to handball. I'm very much privileged because my team has progressed to county level, but I'm aiming higher other than that. Through sports, we are able to identify talents in our learners. We are able to tell this learner is good in handball, this learner is good in football, this learner is good in netball or volleyball, whichever way, because as facilitators we do exercise, we do a lot of practice, and then from there we are able to tell which talent this learner is able to do well than the other sports.
In our school, we have indoor games like chess and solitaire. Chess game helps us in critical thinking, problem solving, and analytical thinking. Chess is a game of strategy. These are our dormitories. We are modern and safe. Sleeping is not just sleeping, it's sleeping with comfort.
This is our school bus. Our school bus here helps in transporting learners from home to school and from school to home. And we also use it for trips and tours. We value natural habitat, for example, flowers and trees growing around the street. This makes us have fresh breath every day.
safari yetu, nuru ya kujenga na kuangaza nchi. Hatuachi kupiga hatua, nuru yetu ni nuru ya Kenya. Kutoka nyumbani, viwandani, nuru ya kujenga, kuwezesha ndoto.
Star 977 hash or download my Power app.
Asante sana mtazamaji wangu. Kumbuka ni Nayo TV na ni Nayo Gumzo, ikiwa na mimi hapa Balozi ama ukipenda Karilas Ochieng. Na kukaribisha tena kwa mara ya pili msikilizaji wangu na mtazamaji wangu. Na kama kawaida nalifungua na maombi kwa jina la Baba, la Mwana, la Roho Mtakatifu. Karibu sana ndani ya show ni Gumzo, na mimi Balozi. Na leo ikiwa ni TBT, yani Throwback Thursday. Every Thursday tutakuwa tunakurudisha nyuma pale na kukumbusha vile na ambavyo tulikuwa tunaishi kitambo, ama kukumbusha vile na ambavyo tunakumbushana ni njia gani zile za zamani ambavyo tulikuwa tunaishi. Na basi karibu sana ndani ya show. Kumbuka tuko pale YouTube, tuko pale ndani ya Facebook, na unaendelea kulike, follow na kushare. Usisahau kudrop your comment pale so that niweze kabisa kuisoma live, na utanieleza labda mambo mawili machache kuhusu mada ya siku ya leo. Na mada ya siku ya leo, bila shaka every Thursday tuna Nayo Gumzo, utamaduni kabisa. Na siku ya leo ningewaomba sana msamaha kwa kuwa hatukuweza mgeni wetu ambaye alikuwa anafaa kuwa hapa atueleze kuhusu utamaduni ya Wajaluo, kwa sababu zisizoweza kuepukika, unavoidable reasons, hajaweza kuwa hapa na sisi. Lakini wiki ijayo bila shaka atakuwa na sisi hapa. Basi siku ya leo, siku ya Thursday ni Throwback Thursday, na kwa Throwback Thursday tunaangalia utamaduni. Naam, msikilizaji wangu, kuna zile njia za zamani ambapo wazee wetu walikuwa wanaishi. They had their ways of living, they had their gods na venye walikuwa wanaishi. Na hiyo ndio gumzo yenye tuko nayo siku ya leo ndani ya Nayo Gumzo, ikiwa na mimi Balozi the Transformed, ama ukipenda Karilas Ochieng, kijana ya kule Homa Bay. Karibu sana mtazamaji wangu, karibu tena sana. Remember to drop a comment pale, drop a comment na utuambie ni vipi kwenye hili swala ya leo. Tukimzungumzia jamii ya Wajaluo, leo tuweze kujua Wajaluo ni watu wa aina gani, ni watu ambao waliweza kutoka wapi, na kwa sasa wako wapi, na walikuwa wanafanya nini. Nimekimbia kwenye rabbit holes pale chini niangalie nitafute hawa jamii ya Wajaluo ni jamii wa aina gani na walikuwa wanaishi aje kabla ya uwaji wa mzungu ama kabla ya mzungu kuja katika bara la Afrika. Mjaluo alikuwa nani? Na basi Wajaluo wote in the house and all my fans pale Facebook, pale YouTube, kumbuka to drop a comment na tuambie listening from where, ndipo tuweze kupatana kwa ufasaha. Karibu tena sana, kumbuka ni Nayo TV. Drop a comment. So Wajaluo ni watu wa aina gani? Who are the Luo? The Luo currently are occupying the space pale Nyanza region in Kenya, and I think they're the 4th largest tribe in Kenya. And we have other Luo, the Luos in other countries like Uganda and their neighbors Tanzania. So the origin ya Wajaluo ni jamaa ambao walitoka pale kule kunaitwa Bar El Ghazal kule Sudan. So kule Sudan there was a plain, a very flat place kunaitwa Bar El Ghazal. Hapo ndio the origin ya Wajaluo. Na the Luo are socially the family is based headed by the father, like a family ni baba ndiye mkubwa. And so Wajaluo socially, or when we talk of the political arrangements ya Wajaluo, there was leadership kutoka kwa father as the lowest part of leadership mpaka kwa jamaa anaitwa Ruoth, or the chief. They were calling the Ruoth. So that's the leadership structure ya Wajaluo. The Ruoth was being held by a council of elders known as Jodongo. So this Jodongo, they had somehow kind of a parliament that was called Pinyo Wacho. So without going further on the political structure ya Wajaluo, I will tell you where the word Luo came from. The word Luo is a Luo word meaning to follow. So as I told you that Wajaluo walikuwa wanaishi kule Bar El Ghazal before they came to Kenya. So coming to Kenya in the late 14th, that is the 13th century, and the early 14th century, that's around 1490 to 1517. That's the time of their settlement in the Luo area. So in the Nyanza region. So the Luo, I said that the word Luo means to follow, Luo, following. So they followed the river Nile from Sudan, coming all the way to Kenya. So that is the meaning, the why the word Luo came from. They followed the river. So it is Luo. For example, you can say in a Luo, Luo Aura. They followed the river. So for example, today we are here in Kisii and you follow a certain path. For example, let's say Kericho. So you follow the road. In Luondara, you follow the road. Okay? Msikilizaji wangu, stay tuned with me so that you get to know your culture, you get to know your origin, you get to know your foundation. Basi ni Gumzo na mimi Balozi, ikiwa ndani ya Nayo TV. Kumbuka to drop a comment pale Facebook tuko live, vile vile tuko live Facebook kabisa. Tuma comment yako pale. Naona watu washaanza kutuma comment zao na kuuliza maswali kuhusu who are the Luo and where did they come from. So history kidogo nimekupea where they came from, and they settled in Namlolwe. They currently known as Lake Victoria. They settled around Namlolwe. They call it Namlolwe, around Lake Victoria. So they followed the River Nile. That's why they are called the Joluo. History says that the Luo came in 3 groups. They came in 3 groups. We have Joka Jok, who are the Luo of game. Currently, I think that's their county, the Luo of game. They were the first people to arrive they were the first group of Luos to arrive, and they settled in Gotramogi, and that was their first place of settlement in the region or in Kenya. So they settled around 1490s and 1517. That is around the time they settled in Gotramogi. So they first settled there, and yeah, that's a little bit, a small history of the Luo. The Luo, we also have their god. Did the Luos pray? Who were they praying to? Or how was their the spiritual structure? We've talked of their history. We've talked of their political structure, of which I will later peruse pia kidogo, and nitarudi hapo kwa political structure kidogo. And we also have we are also now talking of the spiritual structure of the Luo. Please ingia pale. Naona Ajuoga anasema ndio kudonjo, anasema ndio kudonjo kijana Ajuoga. Pia naona pale Mwandu pia ameingia pale ndani. Please comment, weka comment yako pale na utuambie ni vipi. What do you know? Ask questions. Tulize anything. I will tell you hapa kuhusu the Luo. I'll explain about their religious structure. So the Luos had a god called Nyasai. The Luos had a god called Nyasai. Nyasai, if I break it down, it's the first one we have Nyasai, Sayo. It's derived from the word Sayo, meaning beg. Sayo means beg. So Nyasai means someone who is begged. That was the name of their god, someone who is begged. So that's where the word Nyasai was derived from or came from. So if you are a Luo in the house and you are getting what I'm saying, and even if you are not a Luo and you're trying to connect what I'm saying, please just drop a comment pale Facebook, drop a comment pale YouTube, utuambie ni vipi. So the Luo had diviners. The Luo had diviners who are connecting them to their gods. And before we come to know about the structure or the spiritual structure of the Luo, we'll actually take a break and we'll be back soon. Kumbuka tuko pale ndani ya Nayo TV. Show ni ile moja, show ni ile mwecheche. Tunaita Nayo Gumzo. Na leo ikiwa TBT, tunakumbuka the history of the African tribes, na leo tumeanza na Wajaluo. Let's take a break. Tukirudi, I will know more.
From the furthest villages where water now flows, to classrooms filled with laughter and light.
Safaricom Foundation has announced a 210 million shilling investment targeting health, education and economic empowerment projects.
Safaricom wants to continue to celebrate with Kenyans and to improve the lives of Kenyans in every small way we can.
To hands that care for the sick.
I specifically thank Safaricom Foundation for the 50 million donation to Mathare Referral Hospital.
We've learned that progress is not just built, it's shared.
Tunataka kuhakikisha kuwa hakuna mtoto, mama, baba ambaye atalala njaa kwa sababu ya janga la njaa.
When the world slowed down and the COVID-19 pandemic tested every bond, we found new ways to stay close, even when we had to stay apart.
We have supported the country for 6 months now, 7 months. We went with this direction to support the country during this period, to support a cashless environment, but also to cushion Kenyans during this period.
The government provides, I think, people above 70 years old a stipend every month, and they used to wait maybe 4 or 5 months before they can go and get it because the cost of transportation for them and the effort was very difficult. But today they receive it as a voucher and they can cash it out at any M-Pesa outlet right next door.
Every chapter of Safaricom's story leads back to one purpose: to transform lives. And that transformation begins where every future is born, in the classroom.
No child should have to struggle just to learn. And we know that we cannot intervene on all the 25,000 primary schools or all the 11,000 secondary schools, but we can do our part. So Citizens of the Future, it's about changing the narrative that most of us grew with. It's about creating equal opportunities for every learner, regardless of where they come from.
Building a better Kenya isn't just about technology. It's about humanity. It's about standing side by side, time and time again. It is our nature, the spirit of togetherness. Harambe! The heartbeat of who we are. A reminder that progress means nothing unless it moves all of us forward.
Nguvu ya safari yetu, nuru ya kujenga na kuangaza nchi. Hatuachi kupiga hatua, nuru yetu ni nuru ya Kenya. Kutoka nyumbani, viwandani, nuru ya kujenga, kuwezesha ndoto. Nuru ya maendeleo, nuru ya ustawi.
Karibu tena sana, barabara kabisa mtazamaji wangu. Kumbuka tuko pale ndani ya Nayo TV. Show ni ile moja, ile mwecheche, ile kali, ni show inaitwa Nayo Gumzo, ikiwa na mimi hapa Balozi ama ukipenda Karilas Ucheng. Basi leo ikiwa Throwback Thursday, tunakumbuka yale ambayo maisha ya zamani, vile ambavyo ilikuwa, the history of our people and the history of the African people. So leo tumeanza na Wajaluo. Tunataka kujua who are the Luo and Wajaluo ni akina nani. Uliza swali pale comment section, nitakujibu bila shaka. Namuona kijana anaitwa Frederick anasema watching live from Kisumu, formerly known as Kisuma. You know, Kisuma was a place where it was a marketplace before, formerly known as Kisuma, and Kisuma means you know, when it means like going for an exchange. For example, when you don't have maize and you go to your auntie's place, you take maize there. That's what we call somo. So it's exchanging. You go to your aunt's place, you take somo. So you take maize. It's called somo. So when the place Kisumu was the place where people are going to at least exchange what they had to get what they didn't have. So that's why it was called Kisuma, and that's where the name Kisumu came from. Big up Frederick, fan wangu mkubwa sana. Karibu sana ndani ya show. And at least piga comment yako pale, utuambie what do you know about Kisuma, what do you know about the Luos, and what have we not said or what have we left out about the Luo. Pia namuona Mokeira anasema hi Balozi, enlighten us about inheritance and why it happened. Inheritance, I think Mokeira is talking about wife inheritance. Wife inheritance, hapo tutafika. Wife inheritance. Kumbuka kudrop comment yako pale ndani ya Facebook. Tunakupata live. YouTube pia tuko live pale. Ni Nayo Gumzo. Tunajadili mambo moto. Tunajadili mambo moto hapa ndani ya Nayo Gumzo, ikiwa na mimi Balozi ama ukipenda Karilas Ochieng, kijana wa Homa Bay. Tulikuwa kabla tujaenda mapumziko, tulikuwa tunazungumzia kuhusu the spiritual structure ya Wajaluo. The spiritual structure, how the Luos were conducting their spiritual services. So in this, I said that they had a god called Nyasai. The god was followed by the ancestors. These were the people who had, the tribesmen who had died long time ago. And then we had the spirits. It was the spirits first, and then the ancestors. So we had the spirits, also known as the Juogi. The Juogi were the messengers between the living and the god. So the spirits, the Juogi, were the one bringing the message from God and bringing it back through a Juoke. Very difficult words to pronounce. A Juoke. So a Juoke were the, how do we call them in English? We call them the diviners. The diviners. Yeah. So the diviners were the Juoke. So they were the ones who are receiving the message that was brought by Juogi, which is the spirit. A very beautiful lifestyle. Bado tuko ndani ya Nayo TV. Nayo TV. Kumbuka tuko YouTube. Drop a comment. drop a comment, uliza swali, tutakujibu hapa. Tutakujibu hapa ndani ya show moja, show kali, show mwecheche, inaitwa Nayo Gumzo, zungumza nami Balozi. We were talking of the states. So they were the ones who are bringing the message and taking them. The Luos were also offering sacrifices for the spirits. So the spirits were the ones that the sacrifices were being offered to the Jew. They were the ones who were receiving the sacrifices. So they were the ones even taking the sacrifices to your side. You see that? So the Luos were praying, facing God Tramogi. When you are from where I come from, the sun rises from God Tramogi. Like when the sun rises, it's the same direction from where God Tramogi is. So in the morning, the sun was rising from God Tramogi. In the evening, it was descending in the Namlolwe. So during these early hours is the time that the Luos were praying. You are praying facing the sun when it was rising, and you are praying facing the sun when it was going down. Unapata hilo? Yeah, you're praying. So when the sun is going down, so that means that they were praying facing God Tramogi and also praying facing Namlolwe. That is the Lake Victoria. You're getting that? Yeah. So that was the spiritual structure. And then they were also offering sacrifices. Sacrifices were being offered at the sacred place under a tree that was called Manyasi. Manyasi is the fig tree. It was called Manyasi. So the Manyasi, the fig tree, was the tree where the sacrifice. So that was where the shrine were made. Okay? Yeah. So that is the spiritual structure of the Wajaluo or the Luo people. I also talked about the political structure. The political structure, I said that the Luos had the political structure ranging from the father as the head of the family to the Ruoth. The Ruoth as the head of the clan or the village. As the head of the clan, yeah, the head of the clan. The village was being ruled by the village elder. So a certain village, for example, Kanyamfua village is having an elder. Kodera village is also having an elder. Another village is also being ruled by an elder. So these elders were choosing one of the elders to be the Ruoth, to be their leader. So the Ruoth was the leader of the clan. Okay? Mpaka hapo tunaelewana, msikilizaji wangu? Namuona kijana Thunderboy. Thunderboy anasema enlighten us concerning Nyawawa spirits. Alafu kuna mpenda Nayo Lights anasema great nation. Anasema Luo is a great nation. Tell us about Ruoth. So I'm answering you, mpenda Nayo Lights. The Ruoth was the leader of the clan, and he was being sworn in by Ajuoga. Ajuoga, who was the diviner. And the Luos were also pouring liberation in a way that when Jodongo or the Luo, you know, Okay, this is how these things was happening. You see, there were sherehe. Unajua majenzi tunaita sherehe. Unajua majenzi tunaenda Friday sherehe. Theirs was not being done that way. It was every day, every evening. The men were gathering in a round pot. Drinking the traditional wine. Ilikuwa inaitwa Kongo. So this is how it was done. The women of the village would prepare Kongo, would brew the Kongo and bring it to one place. And then in the evening, in one big pot, the old men will sit around the pot with every man sitting. You see, every man sitting. So, because the circle will be a bit smaller and some people would not find space. So those people with you are sitting, you are gaining your place of sitting depending with the number of wives you are having. So if you are somebody with one wife, just a single wife, you are sitting at the back of the other. So it's just your straw that is in the pot, but you are very far away from that pot, because they believed that if you did get a message that something wrong has happened to your wife, you can kick the pot away and and break their stare, you see, pour away the Kongo. So that's how the sitting was being done. And you when you are having one very far away from the pot, the pot was being called agul. Agul is the one for, these pots, they were kind different. There is that one for cooking. There is that one for the refrigerator for making water very cold. There is that one for brewing alcohol and drinking it. It was called I've forgotten the name, but the one for general name of a pot is agulu. Yeah, agulu. So karibu sana mtazamaji wangu. I would like to answer the questions and then we'll go for a break. We'll go for a break, and then after answering these questions about the inheritance, we'll go for a break. And then I'll come back to answer the other questions as we continue with our discussion. Tukicontinue na gumzo, endelea na gumzo yetu kuhusu the culture, the TBT, the throwback. Yeah, leo. So, talking of wife inheritance. Wife inheritance, I think our neighbors, I don't know whether the Kisis were doing it, or mnaweza niambia pale comment section, were the Kisis doing it, or our neighbors wengine the lawyer, I don't know whether they were doing it. We also have our neighbors wengine, the Kalenjins. Drop a comment pale uniambie, were the Kalenjins doing it? Were the lawyer doing it? Or it was just the lawyers? So the wife inheritance, this is a scenario where when a husband dies in the family, then the wife cannot just be there, The wife cannot just be there as if there are no men in that village. So it was Yuri. Yeah, Yuri. Yuri is the, I don't know whether to call it Shemeji or who. But when a man dies in the Luo, now this brings me to what I wanted to say about the rituals of the Wajaluo. The rituals, when there were some rituals that the Luos were doing, for example, liberations, that one I've talked about, like when the elder men want to drink their kongo or their alcohol, they take a bit, the first bit, they pour it on the ground, and then they chant something, giving it to their ancestors and the spirits. You see, when you have a piece of ugali, you first pinch a little bit, throw it on the ground for the ancestors. That was a little liberation that was taking place each and every time you, even if it is water that you want to take, first you pour your liberation. Those were the rituals. We also have the burial ceremonies, a very crucial part. So the burial ceremonies, the Luos were making their homes in such a way that the eldest person, you know, they were living in a small circular house. So in the middle of the boma or the settlement, it's called Dala. So Dala is the settlement where people are living together. So in the middle of Dala, that is where the owner of Dala was, because a man was not marrying one wife because of some reasons I've given you, like when you are drinking alcohol, you're being put far away. So a man can have even up to 8 wives. So he was his timber was in the middle. It was a round house, pale katikati, and then it was surrounded by his wife's houses. It was surrounded by his wife's houses. So when a man dies, he is being buried on the right-hand side of his timber. His timber was facing the gate, with the door facing the gate. So the gate, you know, the timber was so the man was being buried when his head is facing the gate. So after some time, there was Teroburu. So after the Teroburu, it was the Teroburu is the, how do we call it? I don't know how to put it in English. Teroburu is the how do you call it? The ceremony, the after burial ceremony. After a year or something, then we bring Teroburu, where we are sending the spirits away. You see, like the dead spirit, it was being sent away from the Dala, and ensuring that the man who has died, his spirit rest in peace. Yeah. So they were doing Teroburu. So after Teroburu, then after something like about 4 seasons, after something like about 4 seasons, then the man was being, that's around 2 years. And let's have a break. Of about 5 minutes, then we will be back. Kumbuka, choni ile mwecheche inaitwa Nayo, Gumzo. Na leo tukiwa TBT Throwback Thursday, tunakwambia culture and how the Africans were living before the white man came.
From the furthest villages where water now flows, to classrooms filled with laughter and light.
Safaricom Foundation has announced a 210 million shilling investment targeting health, education and economic empowerment projects.
Safaricom wants to continue to celebrate with Kenyans and to improve the lives of Kenyans in every small way we can.
To hands that care for the sick.
I specifically thank Safaricom Foundation for the 50 million donation to Mathare Referral Hospital.
We've learned that progress is not just built, it's shared.
tunataka kuhakikisha kuwa hakuna mtu, mtoto, mama, baba ambaye atalala njaa kwa sababu ya janga la njaa.
When the world slowed down and the COVID-19 pandemic tested every bond, we found new ways to stay close, even when we had to stay apart.
We have supported the country for 6 months now, 7 months. We went with this direction to support the country during this period, to support a cashless environment, but also to cushion Kenyans during this period.
The government provides, I think, people about 70 years old a stipend every month, and they used to wait maybe 4 or 5 months before they can go and get it because the cost of transportation for them and the effort was very difficult. But today they receive it as a voucher and they can cash it out at any M-Pesa outlet right next door.
Every chapter of Safaricom's story leads back to one purpose: to transform lives. And that transformation begins where every future is born, in the classroom.
No child should have to struggle just to learn. And we know that we cannot intervene on all the 25,000 primary schools or all the 11,000 secondary schools, but we can do our part. So Citizens of the Future, it's about changing the narrative that most of us grew with. It's about creating equal opportunities for every learner, regardless of where they come from.
Building a better Kenya isn't just about technology. It's about humanity. It's about standing side by side, time and time again. It is our nature, the spirit of togetherness. Harambee! The heartbeat of who we are, a reminder that progress means nothing unless it moves all of us forward.
Safari yetu, nuru ya kujenga na kuangaza nchi. Hatuachi kupiga hatua. Nuru yetu ni nuru ya Kenya. Kutoka nyumbani, viwandani, nuru ya kujenga, kuwezesha ndoto.
Kuwezesha ndoto, nuru yetu ni
Dial star 977 hash or download my Power app to access Kenya Power services fast and easy. Kenya Power, nuru ya Kenya.
From the furthest villages where water now flows, to classrooms filled with laughter and light.
Safaricom Foundation has announced a 210 million shilling investment targeting health, education, and economic empowerment projects.
Safaricom wants to continue to celebrate with Kenyans and to improve the lives of Kenyans in every small way we can.
To hands that care for the sick.
I specifically thank Safaricom Foundation for the 50 million donation to Mathare Referral Hospital.
We've learned that progress is not just built, it's shared.
Tunataka kuhakikisha kuwa hakuna mtoto, mama, baba ambaye atalala njaa kwa sababu ya janga la njaa.
When the world slowed down and the COVID-19 pandemic tested every bond, we found new ways to stay close, even when we had to stay apart.
We have supported the country for 6 months now, 7 months. We went with this direction to support the country during this period, to support a cashless environment, but also to cushion Kenyans during this period.
The government provides, I think, people above 70 years old a stipend every month, and they used to wait maybe 4 or 5 months before they can go and get it because the cost of transportation for them and the effort was very difficult. But today they receive it as a voucher and they can cash it out at any M-Pesa outlet right next door.
Every chapter of Safaricom's story leads back to one purpose: to transform lives. And that transformation begins where every future is born, in the classroom.
No child should have to struggle just to learn. And we know that we cannot intervene on all the 25,000 primary schools or all the 11,000 secondary schools, but we can do our part. So citizens of the future, it's about changing the narrative that most of us grew with. It's about
barabara kabisa msikilizaji wangu. Karibu sana ndani ya Gumzo. Take your seat. Chukua glasi yako ya maji. Kaa pale na tulie. Utulie vizuri sana. Ufungue sikio na ufungue mdomo. Tuweze kupiga gumzo na tuweze kuelimishana kuhusu the culture. Leo ikiwa TBT Throwback Thursday, the culture ya Wajaluo. Kumbuka tuko pale YouTube at Nayo TV. Show ni moja mwecheche inaitwa Gumzo na Balozi. Tuko pale ndani ya Facebook pia. Unaweza tupata pale Nayo TV. Drop a comment pale, uliza swali, tunakujibu in a few. So before we went for a break, we were answering the question of the burial ceremonies, how the burial was being done. Nimefika pale where the burial, when the burial was done, mtu amezikwa. Nilisema kama ni mzee anazikwa kichwa ikiangalia Rangach. The gate is called the Rangach, the entrance of the compound. So it is the Rangach. So anazikwa kichwa ikiface kule Rangach, because he is the owner of the home. When the wife dies, he was being buried on the left side of the husband's house, and the legs or the head facing far away, facing the opposite direction as that of the husband. So we were answering the question of the inheritance and why the inheritance was done. The inheritance was first. It was a very important occasion in the Luo culture, because first we have the bearing of the children. When a man dies in the Luo culture, he had a family. There must be someone to be responsible for the family. That's why the inheritance was being done. Secondly, the bearing of the children. When the man, the family had to continue and procreation had to continue, and that's why the inheritance was done majorly. I think those are the major reasons. Yeah. So how and what was the best time for doing the inheritance? So when was the inheritance now allowed culturally? You see, when the laws, when a man dies, I said it takes about 4 seasons. That's around 2 years. The woman and the members of the family were not shaving everywhere in the body, from head to everywhere, for about 2 years. And then it was being done a very big ceremony that was called Liedo ile kunyoa. So in this ceremony, this now where brings us to the inheritance. These 4 seasons allowed the members of the family to grieve, to mourn their dead. And so now, after this 4 seasons, it was believed that now even the wife has forgotten the husband and now can be with another man again. So this is now how it was being done. When the woman who was whose husband and died, now the widow, would approach it was the man to approach. When the man approaches a widow and kamwambia, now it's now time, now you forget your husband and at least shave and be clean again. So the man would now tell the woman that go talk to your Yuri. Yuri is now the wife of this other, your shemage. Let me put it that way, your shemage or your co-wife. Now you go and talk to her. If she allows, and now the widow would go to the wife of this man and tell her, you know what? I want your husband to help me in the shaving process. And the woman would just agree. See kama wao siku hizi wenye wanawivu. She would just agree and say, yes, I allow you. Just take him, because if he dies one day, who will shave me? Who will shave me? I will also need somebody to shave me. So just take him. He will go and shave you. Yes. And now the man would take with him the par. That time people were not sleeping on the bed and the mattress. They had the par. The par is the reeds, the mat. Yeah, the reeds fixed in a rope, now the mat. And a blanket. Or the iron, the skin of the sleeping skin. Ilikuwa inaitwa piend neno. So it takes the part or the skin for sleeping, goes to the woman's house at about in the evening when the sun has gone down. Now you can see someone figure from when someone is coming, you just see a figure from afar, but you cannot confirm with it. So it's around 7, around that time now. He goes to the woman's, and in one corner, the houses were around, they didn't have a corner. So when the on the door, and then we have the right side of the house, That's where the man was, the man's bedroom and the late man's bedroom. So he's not putting his part there or his mat there. He will put it on this at the left side, the far end of the house. So there is where he will drop. I don't know how to put these words because they are really difficult to explain in English. But you just went and dropped, and then that is where you shave the woman from head to toe. And then that is now how the inheritance process begins from there. Yes, that's how the inheritance process begin from there. Someone also, I'm seeing Alex. Alex is saying that watching live kiongozi, alafu kuna Kipkorir anasema Eli Kipkorir anapenda nawapata loud, anasema nawapata loud and clear. Thank you very much, Alex and Kipkorir. I just asked something about the Luo and we will explain it. We will explain it to you live hapa ndani ya Nayo Gumzo every Thursday. Every Thursday. Kumbuka ni TBT. It's throwback on our culture, our ways of life before the white men came. And it's leo tuko na Wajaluo, the Luo people, and namuona pale Ajuoga. Ajuoga anasema, I'm glad you are talking about our culture, Jaluo Oksage. Anasema is proud that we are talking about the Luo culture and the Luo culture. Anasema the Luos don't beg. Ajuoga, please, pale drop a comment utuambie how the culture of the Luo ile yenye maybe tunaweza acha. Drop comment pale utuambie if there is any part that is not well explained, utuambie ni gani. I'm going to now talk about the settlement. The settlement nilishaanza kuongelea about how the houses were being situated. So in the we were talking of a compound, Dala, the compound. So in the compound, because the compounds were round and they were fenced with only one gate. So when they were fenced round and it was being fenced with very heavy trees, they were called lido. The lido. So when they were fenced round and with one gate, so in the middle of that around Dala, there was the house of the man. On the upper side of the Dala, there was the houses of his wives, and the house that was nearest to his house was the house of the Mikai, the first wife. Yeah, the first wife was called Mikai. Mikai was the woman that was given the priority over everything. In that, when the man was away, she was the leader of the home. Okay? So, on the settlement, a woman would have three houses. That is at least 3 settlement houses. One, you build your house when you are a kijana. When you are a kijana, when you are not initiated, after the initiation, when you are a kijana. The initiation was the process where they were removing the 6 lower teeth. So when the initiation was about at the age of around 10 around 14 to 18 there. But it's more, it was, I think, around 10 to 14. And then the marriage is after that. So the initiation was when they were removing the 6th lower teeth. So after this initiation is when you are allowed now to make your house. And the first house that a man would build, he was building it in his father's compound. It was called Simba. So the Luos were having round houses, grass thatched, with how do I call it? A stick or something that was in the middle of the house. There was the middle pole of the house, and then on top of that middle pole, there was a stick yenye ilikuwa imesimama hapo. It was called Osuri. So the kijana or the young man would build his house, and then this is how they were building. The firstborn son was building on the right side of the gate. The second-born on the left side of the gate. The third-born on the right side of the gate. And as the numbers continue, meaning that the odd numbers on the right side of the gate, and then the left, the even numbers on the other side of the gate. So that's how the Luos were making their settlement. And then when a man reaches a certain age, he would now move from his father's compound. He will now move away from his Simba to go and build, his own home now, like his father's. So he's starting also his home. He will now build his own home, and then that's how the settlement. So he will build a home, or then move again. The process of moving is called dar. The process of moving and is called dar. So you move from this your old house, you move to another house, that's called dar. So that's how the Luos were settling. Somebody asked about, I've answered the question of the inheritance. Somebody asked about the spirit of Nyawawa. I'm sorry I failed to explain this when I was explaining the spiritual structure. So I said that when a man dies, or when someone dies in the lowland, there was a process that was called Teruburu. Teruburu was...
You see how I do my hair? A very modest length. I don't do too long.
Especially when you had... meaning that you are now a man. Give me that look. I want to give you what I'm feeling here. So, when an adult died, the process of Teruburu, it was taking almost 2 years before that process. So, before this process of Teruburu, the spirit of this man was just lingering, maneuvering around the kum and around the compound. So these spirits, they were restless, and when they were many, they were called Nyawawa. So these spirits were moving around August. It was around August, October, because the Luos were calculating their time using the seasons. So we have 2 seasons. We have Chiri and we have Opon. So the first season was Chiri. The second one was Opon. So the beginning of the year was the beginning of the first season, of which the first season begins at August. And then the second season was beginning around April there. Yeah, I think. So the first season of August, this is where the spirits were now, you will see this restless spirit. They were moving in in some of a mysterious wind, wailing and crowded in like a crowd of voices moving moving in an area. So they were being, especially they were the evil spirits. So they were being chased away from the village until they were taken to the Namlolwe, where they were taking them. So when the spirits were being chased away from the village, at least around the beginning of the year, I said that the laws were counting their years in seasons. So the first season, before the beginning of the first season, that's around August or September, around there, they were chasing these spirits out of the villages and taking them to Namlolwe, that was Lake Victoria, taking them there. So this is how this thing was being done. They were moving in a some crowd, and you feel, you just hear them speaking and something of that kind. So the people of the village were making drums, beating drums to scare them. You get into the house, lock yourself, and you are now beating the drums. And this one is not even far. It was not long ago. I even witnessed it around. Was it around? I don't remember well, but I think 2013 or 2015. Yeah, such a thing happened. And from that time, I've not witnessed one again. Around 2015. I don't know when it was, 2013 or 2015, around there. So these spirits, they were being chased away until they reach Namlolwe. So that's where now the beating, they will just go with the beating. As the beating dies, people also stop beating their drums, and that's how they were chased out of the village. And this was to cleansen the village. And yes, so we'll take a break after that, and after that I will explain the wars and the war artifacts and all that. Okay, let's take a break. Kumbuka tuko pale ndani ya Nayolites TV. Drop a comment pale ndani ya Nayolites radio, Nayolites TV. Tuko pale YouTube, Facebook. Drop a comment, nitaisoma pale na uliza swali na tutakujibu ndani ya Nayolites.
Kenya meta nchi ya ng'ara. Kenya ya meta nchi kavu baharini. Kenya ya meta watoto wake. Kenya ya meta tunavuna jasho lake. Mwangaza wa mulika, nchi ya songa mbele, pamoja tunaweza, pamoja tunaijenga. Kenya ya meta, mtindo wetu, utamaduni, twajivunia kuishi pamoja. Kenya ya meta, baraka kwetu, kwa imani twasimama wote imara. Wangaza waelekeza njia ya kufuata, nia zetu zote ni kuijenga Kenya. Kampuni ya Kenya Power. Kenya, mwangaza wa Kenya.
From the furthest villages where water now flows, to classrooms filled with laughter and light.
Safaricom Foundation has announced a 210 million shilling investment targeting health, education and economic empowerment projects.
Safaricom wants to continue to celebrate with Kenyans and to improve the lives of Kenyans in every small way we can.
To hands that care for the sick.
I specifically thank Safaricom Foundation for the 50 million donation to Mathare Referral Hospital.
We've learned that progress is not just built, it's shared.
Tunataka kuhakikisha kuwa hakuna mtoto, mama, baba ambaye atalala njaa kwa sababu ya janga la njaa.
When the world slowed down and the COVID-19 pandemic tested every bond, we found new ways to stay close, even when we had to stay apart.
We have supported the country for 6 months now, 7 months. We went with this direction to support the country during this period, to support a cashless environment, but also to cushion Kenyans during this period.
The government provides, I think, people about 70 years old a stipend every month, and they used to wait maybe 4 or 5 months before they can go and get it because the cost of transportation for them and the effort was very difficult. But today they receive it as a voucher and they can cash it out at any M-Pesa outlet right next door.
Every chapter of Safaricom's story leads back to one purpose: to transform lives. And that transformation begins where every future is born, in the classroom.
No child should have to struggle just to learn. And we know that we cannot intervene on all the 25,000 primary schools or all the 11,000 secondary schools, but we can do our part. So Citizens of the Future, it's about changing the narrative that most of us grew with. It's about creating equal opportunities for every learner, regardless of where they come from.
Building a better Kenya isn't just about technology. It's about humanity. It's about standing side by side, time and time again. It is our nature, the spirit of togetherness. Harambe! The heartbeat of who we are. A reminder that progress means nothing unless it moves all of us forward. From the furthest villages where water now flows, to classrooms filled with laughter and light.
Safaricom Foundation has announced a 210 million shilling investment targeting health, education and economic empowerment projects.
Safaricom wants to continue to celebrate with Kenyans and to improve the lives of Kenyans in every small way we can.
To hands that care for the sick.
I specifically thank Safaricom Foundation for the 50 million donation to Mathare Referral Hospital.
We've learned that progress is not just built, it's shared.
Tunataka kuhakikisha kuwa hakuna mtoto, mama, baba ambaye atalala njaa kwa sababu ya janga la njaa.
When the world slowed down and the COVID-19 pandemic tested every bond, we found new ways to stay close, even when we had to stay apart.
Yebo ha, yebo ha, yebo ha, yebo.
Somo, 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 somo. You have to do something.
This bone is the next phase of Akunda. Botwe must learn to dance to his own folk song.
Warriors! Ahu! Warriors! Ahu! Warriors! Ahu! Stanza 1! Ha! Stanza 1! Ha!
Mother, we need more. We need more from Akuna Kingdom. We need to break them. We need to tarnish them and bring them down to our feet. But the most important thing, we need to get the Kuna soil.
I will bring suffering to their homes.
You need to.
They will see bloodshed. They will see death.
Sonia! Samira!
Sonia, it's good I found you here.
What is it?
Sonia, listen to that. Listen. Is something wrong in the palace?
Yes.
Listen. Yeah.
A night before the king's death, a maiden from Akuna Kingdom was in his chamber. And normally the concubines who always come to the king's chamber leave after midnight. But this one left a few minutes.
The dangers war will consume the entire kingdom.
Answer me, Rukumeru!
My prince, I'm sorry.
Push! Push!
And how did it happen? How? And she just gave birth just like that.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I want us to do footworks and be strong. I want you to be strong.
Wait another time.
Karibu sana tena sana mtazamaji wangu. Kumbuka bado tuko ndani ndakas kabisa ndani ya Nayo Lights TV. Nayo Lights TV pale YouTube tuko Nayo Lights TV, Facebook pia tuko Nayo Lights TV. Drop a comment pale, tunakushukuru sana kwa comment yako.